With scales varying from dusty orange to a shimmering dark brown, this very attractive reptile is lauded as the second most venomous snake in the world, and solely responsible for racking up the most recorded snakebite fatalities in Australia. Distinguishable only on close inspection from other brown snakes, the eastern brown snake has a distinctive creamy white belly with characteristic pinky orange blotches. Whatever you do, take heed. This little beauty is not particularly fond of humans.
When it rolled over on its belly and I seen the pink spots on its belly, the orange motley coloured spots on its belly, I thought this is not good.
An afternoon pottering in the garden of his rural northern Queensland property proved life-threatening for Rod Somerville. Hidden amongst the dense potted plants and poised to strike was the highly potent eastern brown snake.
As I put my hand backwards, the snake came with. Straight away you know there's something wrong, especially when I knew what the snake was. It sort of sets your heart racing a little bit and you sort of think, whoa, don't panic, don't panic.
Staying calm, applying pressure to the bite site, and getting himself to hospital as quickly as possible was vital to staying alive. After phoning an ambulance, Rod deliberated what to do next.
And I thought, do I phone the wife up or wake the young bloke up inside? Basically, I sort of thought, well, if I panic them, it's going to make me panic more. And that increases your circulation, so the venom will travel further through your body faster. So I just kept holding my finger. And because I couldn't do much else from there, I thought, bugger it, if I'm going to die from a snake bite, I'm going to have a beer.
An unconventional approach? Perhaps. Understandable? We'll let you be the judge of that. Rick Shine, professor of biology at Sydney University, offers his advice.
Eastern browns have small fangs, but very, very potent venom. And there are a few cases where people have died literally within minutes of a bite. Normally, if you use the standard first aid procedure, which is an immobilizing bandage wrapped around the bite site towards the heart, everything's fine, and you've got several hours to get to hospital and so on. But there are a few very tragic cases where people have died quite quickly from brown snake bite.
Growing to 2 meters in length, this very active snake thrives in the hot, arid regions of eastern Australia. Along the entire east coast into the southern tip of the Northern Territory and even across to South Australia. This timid species accounts for 90% of deaths in Australia from snakebite, due in part to the potent venom delivered in an attack and its accidental yet common interaction with humans. The high mortality rate delivered by the venomous fangs of the eastern brown snake does little to deter the enthusiasm and daily handling of this animal by Jeremy Hewberg of the Billabong Sanctuary in Townsville.
A bite from an eastern brown is generally a warning bite and quite often a dry bite, which means they don't envenomate, and that's a really big sign that they're not out to get us. They are in fact afraid of us, and if you don't take that warning, if you don't take the hint, any subsequent bites they probably will envenomate, and then you'll be in a bit of trouble.
In the act of defense, the shy eastern brown will play its bluff, striking out with a dry bite. Will you roll the dice again? Playing Russian roulette with this kingpin could prove fatal.
You get bit by a snake and it's all over and done within a couple of days.
Initial medical diagnosis was that Rod had been giving a warning bite. With the release of the compression bandage, it very quickly became clear this was not the case.
Well, I was shaking profusely and I was vomiting pretty hard. Totally soaked in sweat because you are vomiting that hard. I didn't know what the end story was going to be.
Highly destructive neurotoxins were surging through Rod's body, acting as an anticoagulant, placing him at severe risk of bleeding out. His blood pressure had spiked, his kidneys were shutting down.
Whoa, things aren't good. You sort of feel like, hang on, I was going all right there a second ago, and then all of a sudden, within a few minutes, you start to feel a little bit wobbly, a little bit dizzier, and get a little bit vague.
Medical staff quickly had Rod hooked up to a drip administering life-saving antivenom. But from this point, things only got worse.
From the antivenom, I got the anaphylactic reaction. Started getting tingles all over, shaking, throat was swelling up, lips were tingly, started getting a bit hairy at that stage. Then ended up taking to intensive care.
The extreme potency potency of this toxic bite was destroying muscle tissue at a rapid rate. Rod's kidneys were working overtime in a desperate attempt to process his very own tissue. His kidneys needed help. They were blocked. They were failing.
When they took me up to intensive care, they put so much fluid into me, or I guess they had to try to flush my kidneys. I ended up going from about 94 kilos up to 110 kilos, and with my legs all puffed up, my face puffed up, every part of me puffed up. Then they had to take me off the fluid they were giving me, because I also got a lot of fluid on my lungs, and it was making it very hard to breathe, and I was a bit worried about lying down flat at night, so I basically stayed awake most of the time whilst I was in hospital.
Rod spent the next 3 weeks in hospital hoping for the best.
The eastern brown is considered the second most venomous snake in the world. It's the neurotoxins that give it that high ranking. A bite is very, very dangerous.
Ranking second on the list of most venomous snakes in the world, the eastern brown falls short of taking the crown from the fearsome inland taipan. Both snakes carry an extremely nasty venom able to kill a human within minutes. But comparative to the leader of the pack, the eastern brown can only deliver a very small amount of venom. An average of 5 to 10 milligrams is injected with each bite, compared to 60 milligrams delivered by the taipan. Rod Somerville can count his blessings this viperous snake has tiny fangs.
It took quite a while to get better, and still sort of wait and see what happens situation.
The eastern brown tracks the direction of its prey through collecting warm-blooded scent particles on its forked tongue. Once captured, its prey will not only succumb to the paralyzing and immobilizing venom very quickly, it will continue being injected with venom as it enters the snake's esophagus. This incredible physical adaptation has the venom acting as a very strong digestive enzyme attacking from the inside out.
It has fixed fangs at the front of the mouth. Those fangs are hollow, and it injects the venom straight down through those fangs. So a bite can be very, very quick. Sometimes you may be just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and you may be bitten.
This long, slender elapid will commonly encounter humans inhabiting urban and rural wall crevices, roofs, corrugated steel sheds, and rubbish dumps, wherever a plentiful supply of rats and mice are found. The eastern brown snake is one of the great success stories since European settlement in Australia.
The eastern brown is probably a spectacular example of a snake that has managed to benefit from the changes that human beings have wrought to the Australian environment. Almost every other native snake has decreased in numbers. The eastern brown has exploded. It's now a much more common snake than it was 200 years ago. So it's probably the big success story. And of course that very potent venom is part of the reason for that success.
You can see why people do pass away from these snake bites, because they are very dangerous animals. A lot more dangerous than what people give them credit for. Basically, I guess I learned the hard way.